What's up, everybody? We are back doing another bracket fight. I had a lot of fun doing the last one, so I figured we would do it again. Today, we're doing 2000's racing games, arguably the best time period for racing games. So, this is probably going to be a tight bracket, but let's get started. Alright, so we got Dirt 2, PGR 4. PGR 4 is actually a really good game. I like it a lot. But Dirt 2 is just goated. So Dirt 2 moves on. Okay. This is where we start to get into trouble. Wipeout Pure. All the Wipeout games are pretty good. I prefer traditional car racing to sci-fi racing or anything like that. Not to say that they can't be good, but it's a preference thing. Pro Street is probably one of the most hated Need for Speed games that I can possibly remember. However, I am not one of those people that hated it. I really liked what they were trying with Pro Street. And I think if we had ever gotten a Pro Street 2, they could have really nailed that formula that they were going for. With all that being said, Pro Street. Okay. So, here's another tough bracket. Gran Turismo 3. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Gran Turismo, if we're being completely honest. I do, however, like Dirt quite a bit. But in this particular instance, Dirt 1 was a cool idea. It really kind of put rally games back on the map in a more arcade-ish style. I mean, I think up until then they were still the Colin McRae series. And before that we had Rally Sport Challenge, which was probably the closest thing to what the original Dirt wound up being. But Gran Turismo 3 is a very special Gran Turismo game. Really kind of heralded in the PS2 era of racing games. And arguably 3 and 4 are probably the two best Gran Turismo games. So in this particular case, GT3 goes on. Okay. So we got Flat Out Ultimate Carnage and Burnout Paradise. So here's where we're going to start pissing people off. I like Burnout a lot. Paradise is probably my least favorite, maybe outside of Burnout 1. It was a cool game. It's a well-made game. There's a lot of arguments that it is a very good game. I just found it disappointing when it came out. Arguably nothing was going to live up to Burnout Revenge and Burnout 3 Takedown. And so I feel like it kind of had the odds stacked against it from the beginning. But the whole like open world racing vibe, I don't know. I don't think it fit Burnout very well. But that's just, again, these are all opinions, so don't get too bent. Flat Out Ultimate Carnage is actually a really interesting one. So I never played it when it came out. I was really late to the Flat Out party, so to speak. It wasn't until Wreckfest that I loved Wreckfest so much that I went back and started playing the old Flat Out games. And Ultimate Carnage is pretty goated, honestly, because it's Flat Out 2 made on the 360 with better graphics, better sound. Basically, it's an HD remaster of Flat Out 2, and Flat Out 2 is amazing. So we have arguably the best Flat Out game versus, in my opinion, arguably one of the lesser Burnout games. So flat out goes through. Okay, this one's easy. I love Need for Speed Underground, just like everyone else does. On full nostalgia tint here, but Outrun 2006, really good game. Absolutely love that game also, but it's not even close. Underground 1 was amazing. Arguably my favorite Need for Speed up until that point, and stayed that way for quite a while. I still prefer Underground 1 over 2. And Outrun 2006, great game, but ultimately it was a prettier Outrun. So, Underground. Ridge Racer 7 versus Mario Kart Double Dash. We couldn't have two games that were more opposites. The Ridge Racer series is a good series. 7 is currently sitting over on my shelf, still sealed in plastic. Even if I use Ridge Racer 6 as an example, or 5, they're all good. I mean, here's the problem. I actually don't like Mario Kart 99% of the time, because unless you're playing it with friends, it just feels like no matter how good you do, you're always going to get popped with a blue shell. So it's not really about the racing aspect of it. They're fun games. They're super fun games since you have a couple people around to play, and I really liked Double Dash probably more than I had any right to. So, Double Dash, that's the winner going through. And this is clearly a joke. Big rigs over the road racing or Gran Turismo 4. We could trigger absolutely everyone and take big rigs. But let's not lie to ourselves. It's Gran Turismo 4. Let's just move on. The original Shift or Burnout 3 Takedown. I'm going to stand on this. I've played a lot of Need for Speed games over the course of my life. I love Need for Speed. Shift sucks. I wish I had a better way to describe it. I hate Shift. I've tried it multiple times in multiple different years, and I don't know what the physics are. It's like it can't decide what it wants to be, and as a result, the game is more frustrating than fun for me. Burnout 3 is literally like one of the best games ever made. And from a racing perspective, it's just fun all the time. So this one's not close. Burnout 3. So now we're going to have to drill down this bracket a little bit more. As much as I love Pro Street, if I'm being honest, it doesn't stand a chance against Dirt 2. It just doesn't. And there's no argument for this. I love Pro Street, like I said, more than almost anyone else in the world, to a point where it's genuinely disturbing. I can't pitch that. There's no way. Dirt 2. Gran Turismo 3 or flat out Ultimate Carnage. If I was to pick what I would rather play, it would be flat out. If I pick what I think was a better game when it came out, it's Gran Turismo 3. So we're going to go with what I feel is the better game overall, and that's Gran Turismo 3. So my favorite Need for Speed up until that point, and my favorite Mario Kart of all time. Cool. Bracket challenges get rough. Underground. Still think it's a better game. Gran Turismo 4, Burnout 3. There is literally no wrong choice here. You can make the argument for either one. They're both great. They're both some of the best games ever made in the racing genre. It's all preference at this point, and my preference is Burnout. Gran Turismo 3 or Dirt 2? I think Gran Turismo 3 is the more important game if you're just looking at like legacy and all that fun stuff. But Dirt 2. Need for Speed Underground, Burnout 3. This one's rough. Because Need for Speed Underground was like the harbinger of the entire genre of street racing games for like... It was the blueprint. Burnout 3 was the blueprint of how to do an arcade racer. Oh, this is rough. Alright. Underground. Dirt 2, the best rally racing game, versus Underground, one of the best games ever. Ugh, shit. This sucks. All right. I think I'm going to go with Dirt 2, but hear me out. Need for Speed Underground, because I'm like in my head right now, I'm just running through like playing and beating both of them. Underground, when you get in the late part of the game, towards the very end of the game, there's a couple events that are just absolutely brutal for no reason. There's a couple drag races that are really annoying to go back and play. There's also a large sense of randomness with some of the drag races, and you could just sit there and keep retrying over and over again because their genius idea of having traffic, well, yeah, thematically it makes sense, but gameplay-wise, I would have left that out. Whereas Dirt 2, I can't think of a single part of that game that was irritating or pissed me off. I have a preference where I don't really like the rally raid trucks, that kind of stuff. I prefer the tight rallycross. But Dirt 2 had a lot of range, I guess is where I'm going with this. It had a lot of range. It had a really cool UI and like presentation. Dirt 2. Alright. So now we're on the other side of the bracket. We got Hot Pursuit 2 and Flat Out 2. Flat Out 2 is amazing. As previously stated, see a couple minutes ago where I was literally talking about Ultimate Carnage. But Hot Pursuit 2 is legendary. I'm just going to assume it's the PS2 version because holy crap, the Xbox and GameCube versions of that game were dog shit. So we're going to base it off, this is the PS2 version, and that being the case, that goes through. Burnout 2, Need for Speed Underground 2. Alright, so this is going to be a little weird. Underground 1 is better than 2. I don't care. That's my opinion. However, Burnout 2 is not very good. It's when the series started to get good, but it wasn't until 3 where they kind of got the formula right. So, in this specific matchup only, Underground 2. Project Gotham Racing 2 versus Enthusia. This isn't even close. Enthusia is a cool game, but PGR 2 is the high point of that series. They absolutely nailed it. I mean, they did such a good job on that game. I still go back to it and play it once in a while. I mean, I had friends of mine playing this game that don't even like cars or racing games. That's how good PGR 2 was back in the day. So that's a no-brainer. Okay, anything that Need for Speed Undercover is involved with instantly wins. In this case, it's Burnout Revenge, which could have beat a lot of stuff on this list. Undercover is dog shit. I hate everything about it. It arguably murdered the series. It killed Black Box. You tell me something good about Undercover. Let's do it that way. You tell me something good about it. Leave it in the comments. I don't think there is. I think it's a wholly unredeemable pile of dog trash, and Burnout Revenge is amazing. So, yeah, let's go. Alright, Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, F-Zero GX. As stated previously, I prefer street or car racing games to futuristic racing games. However, the Fast and the Furious is saturated with a gigantic piss filter, and it loads and saves every 10 seconds, and you can't change your view without going into the menu. All of those things are unforgivable. So, an F-Zero GX is it's friggin' insanely tough for no reason, but it's the best F-Zero. And if you haven't played F-Zero GX, you need to play it, and then you can come back to this video and tell me how good that game is. So, we're gonna go ahead, F-Zero. Need for Speed Most Wanted, MotorStorm Pacific Rift. I've played a good amount of Need for Speed, or I'm sorry, we all know I've played a bunch of Need for Speed. I've played a little bit of MotorStorm games. I never really cared about them. They're good, but they're not my thing. And Most Wanted is, I mean, it's freaking Most Wanted. Yeah. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition versus Midnight Club Los Angeles. It's kind of unfair that they put two Midnight Clubs together. Dub Edition's cool, great, awesome. I prefer the Los Angeles edition. It's jumped to the 360 as opposed to being on like PS2 or Xbox. Really helped that game. I've never beat a single Midnight Club ever in my life. So I'm going to pick LA, but you could easily make the case that Dub Edition is better. Hot Wheels, it's not the one that I've played, which is the more recent one for the Series X and PS4 and 5 and all that fun stuff. Forza 2 is the best, not the best. Let's calm down. Forza 2 is amazing. It was basically HD Forza 1, and Forza 1 was a very different game than Forza as we know it now. Forza 2 really leaned into the 360s online and the community. Yeah, it's not Forza 2. Come on. This isn't close. The only thing close about it is they both have the number 2 in their name. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 is good. Need for Speed Underground 2 is annoying, and I'm not a fan. So, there you go. That'll get everyone pissed off. This one's tough. This one's really tough. I like them both. I like them both a lot. These are two of the best racing games ever made. This could be a finalist matchup. Like, we could have got through the whole bracket with these two as the representations from each side, and I'd still have a hard time picking. So, we're going to think, what's it going to go up against? Is going to be Hot Pursuit 2. I think it's Burnout. I think it is Burnout. We're going to go that. This is another one that could easily be a champion bracket. F-Zero GX is amazing. Need for Speed Most Wanted was the reason I got a 360. So, and again, the bias of cars versus futuristic racers. Most Wanted. I'm more of a Forza guy than a Midnight Club guy. I prefer circuit racing, and I do like the more simmy aspects. So this is a biased pick. I don't know that I would ever sit here and try to explain that Forza 2 is better than Midnight Club LA. Just to me, it is. So for that, that's going to go through. All right, Hot Pursuit 2 is really good. Burnout Revenge is just freaking Burnout Revenge. Yeah. Sorry. I love both of these. I absolutely love both of these. The only saving grace for my sanity in this decision is that Forza 2 is not my favorite Forza, whereas Need for Speed Most Wanted is my favorite Need for Speed. So, Most Wanted. So, we have the best Burnout, the best Need for Speed going against each other. And whoever wins this is going to go against Dirt 2. I gotta stop doing these videos, Doc. These suck. God damn. It's really hard to pick between two games because you know how the internet is. Someone will see this matchup and immediately slam Burnout or slam Most Wanted and be like, oh, that was an easy choice. But when there are games that you really care about, God, it is not easy. Two of the best racing games at the height of their series. Burnout. Oh, that wasn't easy. Dirt 2, Burnout Revenge. Dirt 2 had an easy ride. In comparison to the right side of the bracket was a dogfight. There's multiple like champion tier comparisons. I feel like the left side was a little bit easier for some of these games to get as far as they did. Kind of benefited on matchup. That's crazy, actually. Now I think about it, we almost had a Burnout versus Burnout. All right. Dirt 2 is the best Dirt. It just is. Burnout Revenge is the best Burnout. If I had to pick one to play today, right now, I'd rather play Burnout. Do I think 5 more years from now that it'll still be the better game? Yes. Yes, I do. Burnout Revenge. Burnout Revenge is going to be your winner of our bracket challenge. So, on the very top, you'll see the link. You can go do it yourself. Comment down below how much of a moron I am and what I got wrong. Let me know what your winner would have been. These are really fun bracket. Like, I don't know. They're really fun to do. I like them actually a little bit more than tier lists because they force you to pick one over the other instead of just slamming everything into like A or S tier. That is going to do it for me. This was rough. So if you watch the first bracket challenge, hopefully you enjoyed this one as well. Otherwise, it will be on the screen in the outro. And go over there, check that one out too, so you can be doubly pissed off if you think I did this wrong, or wonder what level of drugs I would have to be on to make the selections that I've made. So that is going to do it for me. Thank you, everybody, coming out and checking out this other bracket video. If people like them, I'll keep doing them. I actually like them. They're a lot of fun. I get a chance to, talk about them, talk about the games, talk about my memories with them. So it's something a little bit different than just a straight like gameplay that I normally do. So that's going to do it for me. And I'll see you next time. See ya.
'Cause the night kid's always the first to push the limit.